The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. But I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke. If you find fire, you definitely find smoke. Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Bintan, I say up and running. Caliban say my show boy don't ever give in. 7 years of farm and watch the crops them coming. True they see a humble thing, the lion sleeping. But they ain't for no reason. Only God that I believe in, living. Watch them only passion for a season. Godless, I gon' weed them. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan.
Good night, Bahamas, and welcome to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I'm your host, Valentino Braun, host of the talk show Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. The only time we don't come on air is on holidays. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, and you can text us, powered by BTC, at 422GR96, and you can follow us up on Cable Bahamas 969 on the cable channel, and we're broadcasting live, so you'd get a live interview. And again, it's my pleasure to host you on this wonderful Friday. Today, Guardian Radio has always asked me to bring people who are familiar with the inner city communities, persons who have contributed, persons who know the history about the country and might have a lot of solutions. Sometimes we need persons with the experience and the capability who have been through drama and had a hard time in life to really come to us and speak to us. Normally, these radio talk shows has a lot of politicians, pastors, and important people in the country, but there are a lot of other important people who we need to hear their voice, and Guardian Radio has given me the task of finding persons in the country who has the experience and capability to come and give their expertise on certain circumstances that have been plaguing our country for many, many years. And some of these people, have a very powerful voice, but it's just that they don't have the opportunity to come and express their voice. I was fortunate enough to be able to have my own talk show, and early in my career, I was able to go on numerous different talk shows over the course of about 10, 15 years, and it's enabled me to have my own platform, and I use my platform to go find persons who know what's going on in the country, see it with their own eyes, and express it. And most importantly, they have the courage to actually come on radio and talk about things that are actually, we call it the invisible stuff. But today I have a very special guest in studios. He's a friend of mine. We grew up together. I don't really want to talk about the gang activities that we were involved in, that we started and were a part of. But I have a good friend in studios today. And he has extensive experience concerning the streets, concerning the prison, and I want him to introduce himself to the listening audience. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, good night. This is Dion Cole, aka Bloody. Yeah, I just came on the show with my friend Scrooge, to give you all a little point of view and little mindset about how really the ghetto and Nassau on the whole is just running, because everything is running, like contrary right now.
Okay, and I want people to understand this man is also, we're going to talk about a little bit about his prison experience. He spent decades in prison, and we can talk about it. We can talk about the prison condition, because the reason why I want him on the show today, because what he has to say can open up a lot of airs on what's happening in our prison and what's happening in our country. And we want to talk about the recent murder that happened in our community. And we have, someone who I care about. I know his family, and he also got injured in the shooting. Both of the young men, the one who died and the one who now is in the hospital, I think just came off surgery, is doing better. Both of them were innocent young men, just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. They wasn't involved in nothing, just that where they were. It was spotted out, and guy just showed up and just opened fire. They didn't care who they shoot. Just as long as you're there in that particular spot. Took the life of a young man who was completely innocent. My condolences goes out to his family, and my sympathy goes out to the family. And my heart goes out to the family of my friend, Little Ro. I know her father, Romeo Cooper. I know his mom, Tommy. I know his grandmom. I know his whole entire family. And I can imagine what they're going through, but at least, he's doing better. And I just want to say, I see the deep in my heart, and I see the deep for all of the persons who are losing their life in this country today. I think we're close to 60, Bloody.
Yeah, I'm close to 60.
60. Okay. I wanted my friend Bloody on because, he spent extensive time in prison. He was also one of the former members of the Border Boys. We grew up together and we hang together. And the acting director, the acting commissioner of the Correctional Center, John Clare, he's been there some 25 to 30 years or 35 years at the prison. They're introducing a new program now where they're going to allow the children of inmates to visit them for a whole day. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very good thing, because we need to try and civilize the young men in prison, because, it's a real hellhole, So I compliment the government for introducing programs that is going to be very beneficial to the inmates, because I judge the country's success when it comes to crime on how we're going to reduce the prison population from 1,700 to probably 50. See, I gauge it on that. If we're going to make any progress in this country, I feel that if we keep on having the prison population at 1,700 and we invest millions in the Royal Bahamas Police Force to deal with criminals in the country, we have the judicial system who do their best, but we have backlog of cases, years and years, and many of these cases ain't going to come up. 98% of the inmates who are in prison now will eventually come out. Okay? So we have to find ways on how we can reprogram the thinking of our males and females in this country. So I want to start off by asking my friend, Bloody, because, I really want to let him open up. This is his first time on radio, and I want to really ask him the right question. I want to ask my friend, Bloody, what's the length of time that you spent in prison?
I spent 15 years. It's 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
What's up?
Yeah, baby, I see you watching. Good night, baby. And also those on Facebook who are tuning in. Yeah, 15 years.
Feel like 30 though. 15.
It feel like 30.
Yeah.
How old were you when you went to prison?
I was 19 years old.
19 years old.
Yeah.
First time?
First time.
You had any court cases before that?
Never had a court case before that.
Wow. And what year was this, Bloody?
was 1995.
1995.
Yeah.
1985. Wow. And you did 15 years. First time before the court. And you got 15 years.
Yeah.
Getting 15 years. How was your knowing that you get 15 years? How did you feel knowing that you get 15 years?
Boy, I was in a different other world. You know, they put me in a different other world. You know, you think, you always can win the case or this and that. When you say you're guilty and the judge freed that sentence and sentence you, your mind is just going a different world.
Wow.
You know?
Different world.
Totally different world.
So, were you put in a population of hardened criminals, voice offending? Where were you put?
Hardened criminals, no voice offender. Straight in the middle, I block. Where all the murderers was, that's where they put me.
First time.
First time.
So, your first night, what was the experience?
Well, I think I didn't even sleep for like three, four days in a row.
You honestly?
Just stay up, thinking. Saying, "Wait, this real? You know? What just happened? You know?" Yeah, but that's life.
Mm-hmm. I also want to say, and I don't want to get personal with you, but I want people to know you're real Barbara. I know some of your family members. You had a brother also.
Yeah.
Was he in prison at the same time as you?
Yeah, he was in prison at the same time.
What's your brother's name?
Timothy Cole.
People listen to the name now. Yeah, and Timothy Cole. Timothy Cole is a good friend of mine. He protected me when I went to prison for my first time. Okay, he protected me. Timothy Cole, you know, he got charged for got convicted. I think he's serving 25 or 35 years. But why I'm saying this is because now you get two brothers in prison. Okay? One do 15, and I think Timmy did, 25 or 30?
25, I believe.
And he was always in and out of prison and he went in prison earlier than you. You went 19.
Yeah, you always doing the prison from 16, from boys industrial
From
school.
boys industrial.
Prisons.
So we could say from 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Same thing as Samuel Muji McKinsey and many others.
All of them.
And up at 13, 14, 15.
Yeah, from 13, 14 is from the boys industrial.
Straight to prison.
Straight to prison.
So there's no intervention in between there.
No, like back then they didn't have no system or nothing to try break it, like to break that trend. From they see you getting problems from the age of 13, 14, there was no system to help the youth back then. Yes, you know. Say once you go to boys industrial, you don't learn then they say the only place left is jail.
And if you're unruly, you go straight to jail.
Yeah.
So saying this, good for you that you had a brother who had some stripes, who have stripes in prison.
Yeah, who have stripes.
So he made your life a little easier.
Yeah, a little easier.
So tell me, what are some of the things you experienced with other inmates in the prison? We ain't gonna talk about the prison officers for you. We're gonna talk about, let's just talk about fights, robbery, any taking advantage or any rape.
You know,
go ahead.
Back then there was plenty gangs then. You had rebellions, you had gun dogs, junglers, hornets, you know, and everybody's mixed up in one. So when the cell come out and they don't like each other, that's a big fight. And sometimes the prison officers used to mean to let you together just to get off. That's how it is, get it off.
So the prison officers themselves are accustomed to the violence and going to prison. They also contribute.
Yeah, they also contribute.
Think they help you out?
No. I don't think no help is in the prison right now.
You don't think?
At least back then. Maybe they're trying now, I don't know. You know, I never really keep up with the prison. From I came out,
you never went back?
I never went back.
That 15 years changed your mindset.
Yeah, changed my mindset.
And you was a bad boy, but you was a pretty bad boy. And that 15 years completely changed your mind.
Completely changed my mind.
Okay.
Never went back.
So when it comes to the prison office, those who supposed to be protecting and making sure that the prison running the right way, in some instances, they would allow an inmate to be brutalized.
Yeah.
It's a regular thing.
It's a regular thing. I don't want you to believe because they wearing the uniform, they don't live around gangbangers. Or many of the fellas who in jail is their family or live in their neighborhood, they know them. You know? How you think the weed and the cell phones and get in jail?
Let me let you talk. I tell you this.
How do you think the weed, the cell phone, the cocaine, Cocaine, gin,
man, listen, hold on.
hoghead, you know?
Guardian Radio.
We used to be drunk every day.
Guardian Radio.
High every day.
When you brought Valentino Brown on this radio, I want to talk about invisible stuff that goes on in this country that is affecting us. Now, you have a former inmate who has changed his life around, is telling the country about what's going on. And you hear him talk about cocaine in prison, marijuana in prison, and you hear he is saying how it gets in prison. That's why when you watch the news, you would see an inspector who been at the prison for 35 years getting busted with 2 ounces of weed, or a constable getting busted with drugs. You're seeing this over and over with our prison officers, and this young man just gave a prime example of what's going on.
Yeah. One of the biggest drug dealers in prison is the prison officer. I'm telling you.
Y'all listening?
I know they bust a prisoner with a pound of dope Tuesday, and come back and say to soil Wednesday and bust him with another pound of dope. How the other pound of dope getting now? You tell me. Get bust with $10,000 cash. A prisoner. Some of them more money than the people on the road.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's how it is. People have family, people have friends. That's what family and friends. In all areas of the government. In all segments, or all police, prison officers, defense force. Yeah, I guess can't say. But that's how it goes.
And this is kept from the general public. They make it seem like we're the bad guys, the guys on the streets who are doing the little shooting, the little stealing of the stores. You know, we take the blame for all this.
Yeah.
We is the one who bringing in drugs. We is the one who bringing in the phones in the prison. We is the one who bringing in the coke. And we is the one who bringing in the rum. But it's that way, right?
Yeah.
So that's why last week, for the last 2 weeks, I've been talking about each government department needs an internal affairs department that is separate from all of these departments. Their job is just to go after those who are breaking,
investigate and prosecute.
In order to have a balance.
In every department. Yeah.
That's why it's necessary
It have to be.
to have them on their toes to reduce corruption in this country. So Guardian Radio, you're doing a wonderful job of having a young man like me and my guest who has done 15 years in prison. His brother's Timothy Cole, you know. And this is the inside stuff.
Yeah. This is the inside as you get.
So why is all these gangs in prison? Okay? Are any stabbings going on?
Starving, man. You will die in prison if you get bucked the wrong spot.
How do you mean die?
You'll get stabbed to death.
Well, I know they get reports now that 4 prisoners are being found in the last year or so with blunt force trauma, and they said that they were, you know, beaten to death.
Yeah.
So that is true what you said.
Yeah.
Okay? This is the next fact. Okay? So, I always talk about taking advantage. Have you ever seen or heard of any young man getting raped or...
Yeah. I believe it was one time, I mean, a young man, he's about 17 years old, he broke into a prison officer's house and TVTs and everything, and he came to prison. And this chief put him in the cell with the biggest sissy in jail, and he got raped the whole night.
Y'all listening? Nah, this is the guy who was supposed to protect and serve. Now, he got vengeance in his heart. So this what happens to you people. This what happens in our system. That's why we need internal affairs. So all y'all who voting for the PLP and FNM, y'all brothers and sisters, what needs prison system? You know PLP and FNM, they have a person who like you, hey? Just like Bloody say, he would put you in the cell with a sissy guy to get raped.
With your enemy.
And you think this guy was his first time in prison too?
That's a young boy, I believe 16 or 17.
First time?
First time.
And he coochie get take.
Yeah.
So what you think is going to happen
I
there?
believe he lose his mind, he going crazy.
That's why a lot of people are going crazy now. Their first time or going to prison because just what happens in our system. The same system what people say, you know, you do the time, you spend the time, you know, they ain't worrying, but what is happening in the prison. You see, they don't see that. So they say that if you're a criminal, you go and you spend the time. But listen, you could imagine that young man now, his first time, 17, getting raped. He going crazy. Just imagine the next 17-year-old who take that to heart There's the same young man who come out on the road and be raping people, you know.
Yeah.
Because now they got raped in prison. Now once they get free, they're going to apply this.
Yeah.
You see, because they learn it from somewhere and they're being hurt.
Change their mentality, change their thinking.
And I just was reading, what's up, Louis George? Respect. Mr. Russell. All right, good night. And baby, Miss Joseph, who's there, baby? You see my Jack there, that's baby. Yeah. Yeah, what I was saying, that's not bloody.
You saying about the raping, like the mentality.
Yeah, the mentality. This is learned. Prison teaches people homosexuality. Prison teaches violence. Prison teaches corruption. Okay? So ain't much rehabilitation going there. So you wonder why guys come out and you're seeing everyone who get released from prison getting killed on the streets today?
Yeah.
You wondering why? You think this is a coincidence?
Well, I say ain't no help in prison for them. None at all. Now they build a new prison and we put sections in it to put certain offenders, rapists here, thieves here, armed robbers here, murderers here, and separate them. Probably it might slow it down if they put a rehabilitation system in the system to rehabilitate them for the crime if they come forward and try to teach them a different way.
Now this is a man who's doing 15 years and he is giving solutions to the country's problem because he himself is fed up.
Yeah.
You understand? And he's given some good solutions. Wow.
Because you're seeing it just like this trend just keep going and getting stronger and stronger and stronger. You're getting more violent, more offenders going to jail. I don't even think a person who get busted with a joint should be in jail. Not just a little joint.
Just talk, go ahead, talk.
Smoke a marijuana. You get put in the jail with hardened criminals who charged for armed robbery.
What you say, Minnie? Enough respect, Minnie. Minnie ain't gonna be on this week or next week, okay?
I believe if they put the system in, if you get busted with a joint or two joints, and the judge will say, well, I'll send you to a class, who try to rehabilitate you,
before you go to prison. So, I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think going to prison, it makes you don't want to go to prison no more? Or?
It all depends, because look like everybody who go into prison, they keep going back. Like they don't care about prison. You know
So
what I mean?
why you think it's like that?
Probably they just ain't change their inner self. You gotta change your inner self. Your inner thinking first. It all begins with you. That's why I like what Michael Jackson said. It starts with the man in the mirror. So anytime you go in the mirror, the cool mirror, look at yourself. Just think about yourself. Think where you want to be. You want to be in jail. You want to be somewhere with a nice job, a millionaire, somewhere. Probably you put your standards up high, probably your mindset will just set right tonight. You know what I mean? But you thinking low. And how the system built today now, look like you just working just to pay bills, that's all. They'll put up VAT, they'll put up all the groceries, put everything up, but they'll never put the pay up. So that's when the struggle comes in. Once the pay low and everything high,
Talk, my brother. Go ahead.
you can struggle.
So you think this?
It was like $100 back then. What we gonna buy?
We could have bought the whole food
We
store.
gonna buy the whole food store.
What
Now,
$100
$100 now with milk and cheese and the butter and the bread. Now that $100 gone. You can't even feed 4 children if you're 4 children. Yeah. Everything in school was free back then. Now we have a class party. They need $10, $15. We have a fun day. They need $10, $15. You gotta register them. They need $100, $200. They charging you in the school now even for the little children. So I don't know. I know what it is. I still try to figure out what it is.
Wow. That's crazy.
No, that's crazy.
Oh, I just was looking at something. Oh, it's on the Facebook just now. I know what I do this now. Let me go back. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So this is some extensive information. I mean, like, you're seeing it all up there. Okay? How is it up there? Like, it's just, I never spend no time. I just only remand for the firearm and I get bossed with a 380 pistol. I only spend about about 2 weeks. Then after that, I get remanded for kidnapping. I spent about 2-3 weeks, but I never was sentenced.
Right.
All right. I was that fortunate because I was a smart guy, and most guys would have gone to jail for me. Back in the day, our guys, we were one of the leaders. Guys would actually plead guilty for crimes. That's how serious it was. Just because they wouldn't let the leaders go to prison, they would take. Man, it was crazy. Anyway, we have a call on the line. We're going to take this call. Right. Go ahead, caller.
A pleasant good evening, Scrooge.
Good evening to you.
Sparky here.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Man, you got a wonderful show. I love you. I wait for Fridays every evening and everything like that.
Yes, sir.
But can I ask you a rare, down-to-earth Bahamian question?
Go ahead.
Come on, Scrooge. We from the ghetto. We from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Over the hill. This over-the-hill thing. They got a ridge of doggone hills from Minton all the way to Lyford Key. There's an over the hill on both sides. On the north side, it's normally, this is a rare thing now, on the north side is where the white people dominate, all around the harbor, all around the beachfront, Nassau, Bay Street East, from Yamacraw all the way down to Lyford Key. They got the north side. Hello?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
On the south side, if you come over Hawkins Hill, Market Street, Fox Hill, Collins Avenue, East Street, Nassau Street, wherever you go, they call that over the hill.
Okay.
That's where most of we grow up and everything.
Yes, sir.
That's where we is the poor people.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let's talk it right now. That's what they call over the hill.
Okay,
the
Sparky.
rich white people and thing on the north side, and the poor black people on the south side.
All right.
And we've been fighting all our life to get on the north side. Because we ain't got no yacht, because we ain't got no place to tie up no yacht in East Street.
Okay.
But the fella got a place in Brown Boat Basin to tie his yacht.
Mm-hmm.
So when you tie up your yacht and you get a yacht, you got to find a place to tie up your yacht.
Yes,
so
boss.
they keep us, let's talk the truth. They keep us over the hill, poor.
Who keep us over there? Who?
The elites.
No. The elites don't keep us over there. The politicians keep us from over there.
Oh, okay.
Not the
Okay.
elites.
I didn't want to call that.
Don't
like
get
that.
this rich people thing mixed up. The politicians.
No, but listen what I'm saying.
I listen to you good. I listen to you good.
Okay, listen to me. We got the social people.
Mm-hmm.
We got the religious people.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the politicians.
Mm-hmm.
All of them
Okay, now we talking.
live on the north side.
Now we talking.
Now look here. Where is the bishop of the Catholic Church live? On one big piece of property going up towards Fox Hill.
Yeah.
They call the Hermitage.
That's up.
Where does the Anglican bishop live? Another place where they call the big place.
Yes, sir.
It's always on the north side.
Mm-hmm.
They hardly come over the hill, but we go to their churches and give them all our monies, what we wait for every week, and they call it tithes.
Yeah. So, Sparky, how we get to the point? Because, I have the gentleman, I really have him on the office conversation. So,
yeah, but
speed it up.
The thing is, and then we keep going screwed between these two power, PLP and FNM, and we keep switching them up and down, and they are elites also. And still up every 5 years, we still up ending up over the hill, fighting the tribe to find out how we can buy corned beef and rice. I can't be right.
Sparky better stop, but that's true. That's true, Sparky. And I appreciate Sparky. You do a wonderful job because you're an activist, you know. So, bloody, tell us some of the things that you witnessed in prison during your 15 years.
I witnessed plenty things, man. I witnessed stuff like when the officers get mad at you, they wouldn't even feed you.
Hey, man, they won't feed you. It's their job to feed you.
Yeah, but they wouldn't bring you no food. They'll give you tuna. You just open a can of tuna and give you raw tuna with oat mayonnaise, lemon, lime, with salt in it. Let's give you that with bread. You know about that days?
And I want to say this. Sparky, I did us a disservice. What about us as an individual who are black, just like the next inmate? The prison officer is black. The inmate is black. But he don't like you. And he's supposed to be a prison officer. And look what he's doing. So say that again. What he's doing?
Oppressing.
And he's supposed to be
They are some
serving.
of the biggest oppressors in the world, the prison officers.
So that's why.
Mind you, they have some good set now. I'm not saying all. But you see themselves with oppressive, they oppressive bad. I'm telling you, they don't like nobody. They don't like no prisoners.
And they mistreat people.
Yes.
And get them voice.
Get 'em
So that's why we have so many young men when they go to prison, they get hardened because of the treatment they get. No rehabilitation.
None.
And none of this is reported because it's protected. This is the system that protects the system. I'm here to talk about the system, make a correction to the system. I'm not trying to break down the system.
If they had a private internal affairs body to handle the prison, I believe the prison will run more for it.
You
If
have
they
a,
have somebody to oversee the prison, who have authority over the prison officers,
over the commissioner,
just put them in their place, they will
get the complaints from the prisoners,
and
do an investigation.
and investigate it. You don't have to. You get a complaints and don't do nothing. But you gotta have somebody. You got a stern head and strong heart.
Wow, that's crazy.
Tell you the truth, I believe they need a new prison. That prison, that taking a dunk in the bucket and 4 or 5 people in a cell smelling that.
What you mean a dunk in the bucket?
You got a stool in the
People
bucket.
say when you go to prison, you do the time, whatever it is. So
The same place you pass or go to the bathroom to catch a dunk, that's the same place you eat and you lay down, right down.
So we in a cell, but biggest the guardian room right now.
This must be 3 cells.
What?
They only 6 by 10, 10 foot long, 6 foot wide.
And how much people
4 to 5 people.
in this heat?
In this heat, you will die.
So what you just do all day?
Some guys just clog it all up with them big towel and sheets and pour 3, 4 bucket of water on the floor. Hang everything in the ceiling, just lay in the water. That's how hot it's getting. They telling you.
You have time to go catch a fresh air?
They let you over 10 minutes, that's it. You better fill your bucket to bed. And once that oi, when you see that oi sound, oi, you gotta go back inside.
Let me put you back on so the people can see you. And this is my friend Bloody, and I brought him on because remember, Guardian told me to bring people who have experience and solutions. So this is a plus to Guardian. You getting a guy who has done 15 years. His brother is Timothy Cole, notorious. If you watch him over the years, you would see the cases he had was high-profile cases. One recently, about 2 years ago, and he is the brother, and 2 of them was in prison at the same time. And we know the story about Timothy Cole. We hear the story about his younger brother, and the man is making recommendations for improvements at the correctional center. He's talking with the prison officers being involved in illegal activities. Okay? He's talking with the mistreatment. All right? He's also talking with the prisoners prisoners and inmates being in various different gangs. And if you go in a particular section of the prison, you can lose your life. There are many people who have lost their lives in the last few years, but it has not been properly investigated. But if you listen to the investigation that's going on now, you can see that over the course of the last year or 2, where they had about 4 persons were found unresponsive at the correctional center. But after they do investigation, it was found that they had done forced trauma. That means that they were assaulted.
Yeah.
But there's no charges being brought against them. Why do you think it's that?
I believe it's just a cover-up. I believe probably to do something to the officer, and the officer just let them get killed, and nothing just come out of it.
These things happen. People
don't
do these things happen.
Yes.
If the officer don't like you, what do you do?
He'll put you somewhere to get beat.
Put you somewhere to get raped?
Rape, beat, whatever.
Well, this happened with me, This is what your brother did for me.
Mm-hmm.
When me, Chucky, and you will went to prison. Okay, we went to prison. Or 3 years went to prison for attempted murder.
Right.
The CIA told me they was going to send me to prison, even though I was not involved in attempted murder.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And they sent me to prison. They sent 3 years to prison. When we went to prison, Timothy Cole and Benji was in prison at the time, and Fred.
Right.
And Timothy Cole was upstairs. I can't remember who was upstairs in H. Tingame.
So?
Yeah, I think that's so with
The bulkhead.
but the bathroom was the barber shop is here, and then the steps cross here.
That's the east.
That's the east.
Yeah.
And he was upstairs.
L block.
L block. That's right.
Right.
And Timothy Cole, because I grew up watching him, He was a terrorist. And I learned some stuff off him because we used to talk a lot. He was the senior man at that time. He was young, but he still was the senior man. He had more experience than me on the streets because, I just was coming up.
Right.
But I used to frequently watch him drive 600. He was a hard boy.
Yeah.
You understand? But that's how the neighborhood made the individuals in our community because we didn't have the proper guidance,
Right.
the proper family structure. So we had to defend for ourselves in this community, especially when the crack cocaine came out.
Yeah.
And he screwed all our family life.
Yeah.
And he told me, say, Scoochie, whatever you do, don't go use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys was talking to the prison officers.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole crew. The raiders, the gun dogs,
Right.
the junglers, whatever.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get me to use the bathroom. And you won't believe a prison officer come tell me come use the bathroom.
Yeah.
I watch him talking to the inmates because I want to go use the bathroom because Jimmy Cole tell me to use the bathroom.
Right.
The prison officer came and told me, boy, go use the bathroom.
Yeah.
So these things exist, and that's what's going on in our country today, and that's why we have in this problem we face right today in this country.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to take the show serious, or what this young man has to say serious?
No.
No.
Because they just don't care. I believe the Yemen people don't care, especially how the young youths doing. Pardon me, how the young youths going today. The people they should just say, man, let them go to jail. They're doing too much foolishness. They need that. They just that's what I feel personally.
I'm glad we're being around. Me and you, we're both the same age. Only reason difference is you did 15 years in prison. I was fortunate enough to miss that.
Right.
But everything else, we've experienced because we grew up forming a gang.
Right.
And people don't understand what was the reason we formed a gang, because we wanted a gang or because the rebellion was taking over the area.
Yes, because we wanted to stand up for
ourselves.
We didn't want to be joining no gang to say we following nobody.
And they wanted that little area.
Plain people believe they don't believe around there. We ain't like a leader like
No.
that's what the name Kelsey and
Barkley,
and
Kelsey, and then Anton.
We
was a mixture.
Donkey and Tutu them, and we used to just
mixture.
get together and defend ourselves. That's all it was.
You see?
We just didn't want nobody to oppress us. Because, they always try to oppress you or try to intimidate you.
So they've taken over the neighborhoods,
Right.
and they wanted Hay Street to turn rebellion raiders, and that's one of the reasons we get together and form that particular group. That's why we got in the gangs.
Right.
Today's gang, I don't know what's going on. We were fanning turf.
Right.
I don't know what is going on right now on the streets.
Like walk right now.
Or the walk. This over our realm.
Yeah.
We don't have, you ain't fighting for no turf.
I don't fighting just to say you bad
Or
or
little
like,
talks or bad.
pretty girl or something.
Or a girl or a gun or, man, petty stuff that can easily be resolved.
Yeah.
Hey, cuz, Roberto Newbold watching. Yeah, it's crazy. Wow. Woo. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. So, what kind of discussion is be going on with the young man in the prison? This is all balls out now. People listen. This is all balls out. You got murders up there. You get rapists up there. What is be going on in the prison like?
Back in that days, everybody thought when they come out. When I get out, I can do this and that and that and that and that. And that, you know what I mean? And that's like the main topic in prison. When we get out or when you get out. You know? Some people don't even make it that far. I watch plenty of people trip out in jail.
Oh, you mean trip out?
Yes, going crazy. Couldn't take it. 2 weeks and then that's trip right out. Can't believe they're in jail. And just lose self-esteem and everything. Don't bathe no more and don't trip out. Gotta put them on the F block, and the F block is the freak block.
It's a freak block. What would F block all about?
Just crazy people.
They
People be chewing feces and pissing up themselves and don't bathe, don't do nothing. That's trip right out. That's serious.
Hey, Freya. Wow. So this is some inside stuff. Wow. So how was you able to cope with your 15 years, bloody? Tell me this.
I just accept it.
Just
I just
accept it.
put it in my mind, say, boy, I don't get this. You know, you freaking out, just do your time. And accept it. Once you accept it, then your mindset is be totally different.
And you make sure, say, when I get with you, I ain't coming back.
Yes.
So all them badness you was dealing with when you was younger, you throw all that away
Yeah.
because you don't want this experience no more. You want a better life. How is your life now? And are the opportunities which you're looking for, are they there now?
There's a couple of prison officers who helped me along the way doing it.
Okay, let's talk. Go ahead.
Like Mr. Sanders, he was Inspector Sanders then.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Corporal Wright, I believe he's an inspector now, or sergeant now, in the tailor shop. They took me into the tailor shop, and that's how I began to sew. Sewing just take my mind, you know, playing basketball, join a team, and just play ball.
You ever got at ball now?
Yeah.
Used to girls, I'm sure you used to get all the girls, man. Bloody boy, he had all the girls. I ain't gonna tell you. This red guy, yeah, he had all the girls. I say, man, listen, this guy's had all the girls.
Yeah. That was coming from all over South Beach.
And I was trying to turn them on me.
Too much.
Yeah, that's crazy. What's his phone ringing? I can't answer, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really believe they need to get a system in the jail. They got to stump a system in the jail, a real rehabilitation system.
In order for us to make change.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna refer it back to the statistics. If you read the newspaper, you'd see statistics tells you that the majority of young men who get charged with murder today, once they're released, they're likely to lose their life.
Yes.
And they come on the streets.
And that's like nearly 80% rating. That's nearly the 90 now.
Wow. You came out. Is there any opportunities in the inner city community when it comes to empowerment from our government and our church leaders? Is there anything for a young person who just came to school to the 12th grade? It's 5,000 students coming out every year. Do you think there's an opportunity for them in the inner city community to find work or to have a business?
No, I ain't seen nothing in place right now. Nothing the government doing, nothing the church doing right now. Hold it up 5,000 will come out, probably 100 might survive. Because we don't have no system in place to help them out. Man, our children them supposed to be going off to college to play ball, and we supposed to have plenty of Bohemians in the NFL and the NBA. They have the talent to do it. We just need, the government's supposed to be supporting them. You know what I mean? The church, excuse me, all the pastor wants a $9 million jet and a $2 million mansion house. And the people giving it to them. They wouldn't take that $9 million and build a community center for the children. To help the children out. And I see the government building no mega structure for the youths. Nothing. We was have one of the biggest mega structure for youths in the world in the Bahamas. That's how much money we have. But we don't know where the money going.
You think the money going every 5 years we elect?
Why?
And then who's supposed to be serving us?
I mean, for the past couple of years, I've been thinking now, F&M, PLB, F&M. I'd rather give DNA a chance who never teeth me. I'd rather give somebody who never teeth me a chance right now. Because he never teeth me, so cheap, I give him a chance. That's the mindset I get right now. Yes. F&M, PLB, F&M, PLB. I ain't see where it's going. That's over and over and over.
There's 100 murders a year. And the fear and the heartbreak of many family members in this country who are losing their loved ones.
Yeah.
That's all happening. And there's poverty. And then a lot of people want to leave to go to Canada and the U.S. because there's no opportunities, no job employment. Our nurses want to leave. Our doctors want to leave. The citizens want to leave the Bahamas when we're supposed to be one of the richest Caribbean countries in the world. You speak about the 5,000 students, and you say probably 100 that comes to the school will end up would either end up on the police force or the defense force or immigration or some type of bamboo shack or furniture plus where they'd have a good career, but the other rest, so 4,900 would be stagnated on the street to thank hustlers.
Trying to find construction jobs or selling weed, selling go just turn a bad boy or a bad girl.
And most guys who come into prison, what is their job of choice? Because they can't get no employment. What do they do?
Well, the only job you can get in prison right now is if somebody hire you on a construction site, will do some mortar or somebody train you to become a skilled man. Because if you don't get the skill set, you just gonna be a laborer. And the laborer money, that's dino money. That's only money just to keep getting you lunch every day when they pay you to go to work, cash bus to work.
You've been living across West Street. You've been living across Hay Street, Grandstand.
Mm-hmm.
How many young men have you seen actually you think you have known have been killed in the last 10 years or so? Or the last, go ahead.
I don't know, but 40, 50.
40, 50.
Yeah. Young men.
Live right in the neighborhood.
Right in the neighborhood.
Same, it's the
You
same.
can see them just walk past you today and somebody comes, well, you know, yeah, shoot yesterday, you know. I mean, shoot yesterday, you know. I say, well, never. Just one of my little cousins, I stopped him in the morning. He said, like, they going to work, it's 6:30 in the morning now. 15 minutes later, he got to call his dad. I said, what the?
That means guys follow him.
Yeah,
No any kind of work.
yeah,
They're talented, you know.
yeah.
If they use their minds for a different purpose. You know this stuff. Stake somebody out. You know this the nerve to say you're gonna put a gun on you and your boy to drive a car to go follow somebody to kill them early in the morning.
Yeah,
You know this, you get up out of your sleep and you plan this out.
yeah.
And that's what's going on in our country right now.
That's what's going on.
Because how you said that, right? I was home. And when they say, hey, Scrooge, someone called me on the phone, say, Scrooge, say, you only hear just now, Little Rogue get shoot and Lefty. So I say, hold on, man. But Little Rogue and Lefty, we were playing ball in the park Sunday. I just leave Little Rogue through the corner.
Right,
And Little Rogue, he don't bother nobody. He have good parents.
yeah.
And listen to this, people. Lefty, don't even live around there. He is his parents' only child.
Yeah.
So I can imagine how they feeling right now. And Lefty was when he stopped to come here, Little Road, because that's his boy. So he only come to hear them.
Right.
But the spot where they were hanging,
That's why other people is.
other people was associating. So all they say is a guy came through in the queue, walk through, spot them, say, walk back to the car, get the gun, come back and put it on and say, don't move. And then open fire on two victims who ain't doing nothing.
Yeah.
He just would shoot anybody who was there at that particular spot. Now he kill an innocent young man and he injure the next young man. Now everyone has family.
Yeah.
How you think this is gonna end now?
Why?
When people know their children was not involved in no illegal activity, and you have brothers and you have cousins.
Yeah.
How you think this is gonna end? You're gonna blame them now when they go do retaliate if this happens? Huh?
They say leave it to the police.
Leave it to the police?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what they say. But that ain't what the streets say.
What the streeters do?
Streets just retaliate. Especially when it's a close family member, just retaliate. That's how it's been going for years.
From our time, before our time,
Before
and
our
still
time.
going on.
Still going on.
So, okay, I was asking more questions. We're going to take this call because I want the callers to participate, but I also want the callers to understand that this show is about this young man here and his experience. Okay? Because he is telling the tale. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside the City.
All right, Scrooge, I go. That's how Roland calling.
What is this?
How Roland calling.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I like your show today. It's bringing some positive light to some negative things and opening the door and put some light inside.
Yes, sir.
The best disinfectant in the world is sunlight.
Yes.
If you don't know what's going on, you can't fix it.
Yes, sir.
Understand me?
Yes, sir.
But I understand what you are trying to say, right? But my point about this whole thing is, right?
Go ahead.
is B is just, I mean, how could you be out on bail for double, triple murders and nigga with a joint going to jail and don't get no bail?
For true. You ain't lying.
Well, I know what to think. Go ahead, Carter. You're talking. Go ahead, huh?
Yeah, man, I be listening to the news every day, you know. I live in a family island,
Yes, sir.
and when they come to Nassau, I just walk everywhere you gotta go, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't wear no jewelry, I ain't got no patterns, I ain't got no tattoos, none of that. But I just look around, and every time I go to my hotel room, when I turn on the news on my phone, somebody getting murdered with this one or that one, and everybody known to police. If they known to police, why they on the road?
Mm-hmm.
Why these I commanders can't keep? You ever seen House Arrest?
I agree.
The movie with the young fellow who killed his daddy in the car crash.
Yeah, and he can come with the yacht.
He couldn't come with the yard. Why we can't do that?
That's Ankle in Warrington right there.
Yeah, why we can't do that? Why these niggas allowed to go everywhere?
For their own safety. It's for safety of the public and safety for themselves.
Yeah, but they allowed to go everywhere.
To the nightclubs.
And they doing more things. Like how your boys say, Fox Hill is a university.
Mm-hmm.
You go in a minor offender, and you come out a
hardened
maximum
criminal.
offender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you come back out,
You're rough.
they done brainwash you, done intimidate you, done bring you into the fold. Because you need protection. You got to follow one of these gangs to get protection.
Yes, sir.
And when you get out there, for your protection, you got to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing free.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to charge us to breed in the Bahamas, we've been paying tax on there.
Yeah.
So keep it a good job. Just tell them fellas, try stay away from them fellas who got that funny intention, bro.
Yes, sir.
See, I a man, I 52 years old.
Yes, sir.
I got 5 fellas working for me.
Wow.
I put 3 of them together and 2 of them together. I was working by myself.
Yeah.
Because my temper's short. If I got to tell you something over
Over and over. Yeah, yeah.
and you won't pay no attention,
Time
I
to
get
go on.
mad. Then they say, I got the problem.
Yeah.
So I was working by myself. If you stay by yourself, you will be surprised to see what you see.
Yes, sir. That's what I learned in the last few ladders of my years. When I did that, that was the best thing ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Yes,
saw
sir.
people in company.
No company is trouble.
Yeah.
Because it can be one stupid bonehead who go and tell you, look here, let's go down the road and hold this one up. Let's go get this car, let's go party tonight. And you don't got no money and you want me to go party with you? So we got to go rent a gun or borrow a gun, go rob somebody, a party? Go to work, your grandparents said, your parents said, go to work. 9 to 5, you ain't never kill nobody.
Yes, sir.
All right, you all have a good one, bro. I'll talk to you next week if I could.
Yes, sir. Yes, you did a wonderful job. You know, I grab my hair now. I got to plait up my hair. So, you know, I grab my hair now. So, no more sorry for the parents, but I grab my hair, you know. I grab my hair. I said, grow my hair. Yeah, so we having real talks, you know, and this is kind of stuff. And Poison's that, you know, he's never been on radio. And I've been trying to get him on radio for years. So he said, finally come on the show. And right now, he's more important than many of the guests who probably come on shows because he's telling you what's going on in the prison. Okay, he's telling you we need an internal investigation team in the prison, we need an internal investigation team on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, we need an internal investigation team on the Defense Force. Yeah, that's why I say we need an internal investigation team on the Defense Force and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You all think about this now. That's why I say the system protects the system, and it's time we put an alternative measure in place as citizens and advocate for internal investigation department that is independent of the Defense Force or the Royal Bahamas Police Force. They are police, they are Defense Force officers, but their job is to look for all those involved in illegal activities and crimes. Yeah, that's why I'm going to say that. Recently, we have seen Defense Force officers involved in robbery on the banks, and they always have a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I always don't hear? Where they get this firearm from.
Right.
Why is these Defense Force officers patrolling the seas of the Bahamas? And they the judge, jury, and executioner. So when you think they pull over a sloop, or they pull over a boat, American boat, and they search this boat, and they find these firearms, do you think they turn these firearms in, or they say, but you're 6 us, yeah? But we can wake this out,
Yeah.
we can let them go, and we can keep these guns. And these are the ones These are the same guns that end up in the hands of citizens because they're going to give it to their friends and they're going to keep them there. And they're going to have one of their friends on the streets who's a gangster because we all know people in defense, we all know people in the police force. And this is what happened in our country. We're going to take this next call. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside the Inner City on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Yes, hello.
Good night.
Yes, good night. Mr. Brown. Brown is your name, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'm wondering if you ever thought, have you ever been to university?
No, sir.
I feel like you're limiting yourself.
Okay.
I've been listening, I've been following you now for about 2 years.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
And somebody like you see, I've been on the street a little bit myself.
Yes, sir.
I used to go to church, but a preacher can't talk to me because he never walked the road.
Wow.
So I can't listen to him
Yes, sir.
when I was younger. And I could listen to people who've been on the street and know what it is to have a gun pointed in your face or see drugs, see people get killed or something like that.
Yes, sir.
So I can't let like a guidance counselor talk to me.
You're correct.
You need to have people like yourself, myself, and the young man next to you
Yes, sir.
go into the schools
Yes, sir.
and talk the real thing. Don't
Yes,
come
sir.
with your passive talk.
Yes, sir.
Because that's what the preacher does. The guidance counselor who ain't never been to prison. None of them never been to prison or never been on the street, probably never smoked like or anything. But they won't tell you how to change.
Yes, sir. I understand where you're coming from.
And you need people who have been there.
Yes.
It's like a man, you telling a man who's been to Vietnam how he should be. He already got a different mindset. He don't see things you'll never see.
That's why you're post-traumatic distress
Right.
order.
So you need people who've been there to talk to people who you see heading that way.
Right.
And I always listen. I like to hear you laugh. I get a kick out of hearing you get a good laugh. But
Yes,
I
sir.
think somebody like you need to think about going to university because the world is waiting for people like you out there.
I'm gonna.
Some-
Go ahead,
one,
sir.
One day I'll introduce myself to remind you of this conversation.
Okay, sir.
But you got a university right here, like what the boy named Carlos Reed.
Yes, sir.
You see what he did and where he is today?
We help him get where he is.
Right. Or
That's
he
who
can't-
you think
he
help
never
him get where he is.
Yeah, we
yeah,
started.
but he never
started-
took English.
we
Yes,
started
yes.
it against
He
violence.
need to go back and take his English. I don't know. He got a doctorate degree in this. Can't speak English, but
Go ahead, sir.
he needs to go back and take English.
Yes, sir.
But people like you all, not knocking Carlos.
No.
He means well. And I like to listen to him also.
Yeah.
But you got to polish yourself down when you get up there in the upper echelon.
Yes, sir.
Because you're going to start meeting people of a different ilk. So therefore, the little bit more education you have and the little bit more polishing you have,
Yes, sir.
you'll be surprised to see how the world would accept people like you. Because our youngsters are lost. And they're not going to listen to
No.
some, man, I used to teach one time, I'm going to tell you the truth. And I never had a problem in my class because you know why? The way I look at them boys, they could see I wasn't a normal teacher. Now, they didn't know my past.
Yes, sir.
But the look in my eye, they calm right down. You know when you got that look?
Yeah, they understand the look.
And one or two of them I had to hold, but I didn't knock them. I just put my weight on them.
Yeah, because, they're tough.
All right. So, you see, that's what they begging now for teachers, for men to go into schools. Because sometimes you got a man, these boys, when the principal ain't around or nobody
Yeah,
around.
because they'd run over you. They'd run over you because they come, they're rough and tough. They're rough and tough.
You can't talk to the fellow who in the gang, but boy, please sit down. Have him and throw him down. Let him know you in charge.
If he don't want to, sit down, then you have to use
And
your
then
man
or
point.
get out by class.
Yes, sir.
That's how I operated.
You're right. You did
Get
it
out
the
by
right way.
class before you caused me get in trouble.
Yes, sir.
And I realized they would calm right down because they realized I was of a different breed. So therefore, you need people of our ilk and culture to go out there and now talk.
Yes, sir.
And I like how you're saying what is going on in prison. I can't imagine a prisoner being caught with $10,000 cash. It's hard for me to come with that out here and working.
But that's
And I
what
work
goes,
7 days a week.
that's what goes on. I've heard stories.
But he needs to talk more. Tell him talk more because he's very passive.
Yeah, I can let him go. I can let him talk some more.
He's not
Okay.
used to speaking out.
Yes,
He
sir.
needs to share some more, man. I want to listen to him.
Okay,
Listen to him.
I can try pry someone these last couple of minutes.
And one day I'm going to come. I mean, I've already sat around you and you didn't know I was looking at you, but I can come and introduce myself to you. one day.
It'd be a pleasure, sir.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You see people, because what you're talking is very important, and you're telling what's going on in the country. You serve a great purpose. Right now, you know how important it is right now to the country because you have the nerve and the audacity to expose the invisible stuff that's going on in our country, what our system is doing. We got this one call, and then we're going to get back to you. We're going to take this next call. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, blessings, Scrooge.
Yes.
Yeah, blessings to your brother. You say Bloody, right?
Yeah, that's bloody.
Yeah, but listen, like the last caller, he spent more time than me and you put together than plenty of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I being there twice. It was like 23 and then at the age of 40. I don't know. Last time I been there was 209. But what I'm saying is, I like the stories again, but I like for Bloody to answer one or two questions.
Go ahead, give it to him.
I've had some callers talk about, like when people put money on the
account
for the commissary,
Right.
and they leave prison, and they never could get, no one gives an account for that amount anymore.
No, that money
right?
gone.
And then, and then, well, I could reckon with what he's talking about with the food situation, with the prisoners with the officers getting out, not sending you food, etc. But I know what happened one time when I was up there was the fellas who have money or who have like influence. What'll happen is when the trolley go down, you watch the trolley go down the aisle full, right? And when they come back up, they might only have Campbell soup to give you all the other delicacies like what you want that then gone. So people who you understand what I'm saying? This is what I see with my own eyes. Others, they come and give you cigarettes and all that, and we see the disease-like conditions that exist within there. And so, roach in the front, rats in the back, jungus in the alley with the baseball bat. But, Scoochie, you call some old timers name there. What's going on? I see my brother Yule. Like Yule, you call Yule name. I realize how long we been around. I see Yule in a minute.
You will die. You will got killed.
What?
Yeah, that's bullshit, brother. You will got killed.
Benji, you didn't know the situation. Benji, but I know you want to use.
Yeah, you will got killed right after Mouche. He knew he lasted with 5-6 years. That's both brothers gone.
In the dark ages. That's what we're getting. But I like the brother's story because then the most important story, what people should gather from this is the rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the government have a right to take care of you whilst you're in prison.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad he's exposing these tactics in which they use.
Yeah.
Like, they put you in the F block, like some people, these different little tactics that they use. But, you got to bring it all out. But the thing is, in order to implement the system, but is there any oversight, like in any, like there's no Innocence Project or anything going on in there. Like, it's just like, is he still, you could build all the buildings you want. But like the brother saying, if you're not rehabilitating the people, but also, me personally, and knowing, but I had family members who spend way longer time than me. But when you come out, you just let the caller know, like you always be kind of quiet, and passive. That's just the way it is. But your mind is just revolving again. You know what I mean? So I can understand where the brother's coming from, but he's full of knowledge, and he has to share it. And so to hear it from somebody who's in there, because when I realized how let's say intake was a new thing when I was there, and when I look at how dirty and filthy it was unbelievable. So I don't know what they're doing to upkeep it, and then we had people denying. I don't know if you remember when, I don't know who the senior officer was, came on the radio. It was a police officer who was in charge of the prison. He was a commissioner, and then I think he was the prison officer in charge. But I think one of them came on the radio and said that there was no, the piggery scent, the human stench, the fecal, which you said, the scent which you smell, man.
The feces?
Yeah, we smell the feces, right? Bloody. They denied that there's an open trench where they throw this thing, man.
No, the open
you can smell it forever.
Listen, let Bloody say it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let Bloody say it. Let Bloody answer it.
It's an open trench. They duck all the feces in every morning 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but Bloody, I do that. But you know what's going to gas me? What I'm saying is too Bloody. The situation with the contrabands, etc. I like how schools painted this picture. But the last caller made me remember something too, where he said the people want to hear from people who's been through it. But that's the same thing where they be telling some doctors them, certain conditions you have to discuss it from a patient's perspective, and they don't understand it. So that's why they're not getting ahead too with certain treatments because they only looking at it from their way, and they're insensitive to certain revelations by your body. But your body can be able to teach them because your body's smarter than anybody. So you understand. So you have to be able to listen to people who be in the prison, and the government needs to run with that. But what I'm saying is they want to treat us like dog even when you come out. So with the question with the criminalization, they're still criminalizing insignificant amounts of cannabis. Mitch and the brother showed me that they're not really interested in decriminalizing the weed, because just recently a family member, what it was, must be a 3/4 ounce, less than 3/4 ounce of weed. You go on the court and pay like almost $900, man, just for a little but I tell them they should throw it away. But this is what they're into because they collect money from it, Scrooge.
Yeah, I
So
understand.
they're not into decriminalizing it. I just wanted the public to know that.
Because-
it's in their benefit to
Yeah.
criminalize us and then collect the money and then they want to decriminalize it. People did it in 1988 or 87. I was in Washington D.C. You hear me, Scrooge?
Yes, sir.
Georgetown, just a couple 100 yards from the University of Georgetown. Went to see basketball game in my aunt. It was a white guy in his shop door smoking the joint of cannabis in 1987 or 88. And I said, Yanni, the guy smoking the joint right there. And that's from 88. They had up to decriminalize up to ounce from back then. So that tell you where we are, the dark ages. Give thanks.
Yeah. And what Bloody mentioned when he say he don't feel no one should be going to jail for marijuana. It has been proven. They said that the war on drugs is a failure in the United States. The UN has said this. It's maintained its voice, right? But we in the Bahamas don't have a really serious drug problem besides the cocaine era. We have little marijuana use, and we have found out that marijuana, even though we have it illegal, is still, not something that should be criminal, right? And even though we decriminalizing it, and we have this program in place that the first time offenders, you could go and apply to the Ministry of National Security and get your police record clean.
Right.
Why are we still putting people before the courts for joints and ounces of weed when we say we're decriminalizing it?
Right.
Decriminalizing it would save us a lot of time around the court, a lot of backlogging with cases. We have thousands of people who were just before the courts with marijuana possession, that one joint. And this is taking up all the time from the major cases like the murders and the serious rape cases and stuff like that. The judge could use their time and effort focusing on more important matters. There should be no one right now, since we've been talking for the last year and a half or 2 years and a half from the Free National Movement to this government right now, still going to court for marijuana possession.
Right.
All we're supposed to do is educate people and say, you know what? If you get catch in the street smoking it, you get a fine.
Right.
Okay, if you get catch in the street smoking a marijuana joint, you get fined. If you get catch smoking around the school, you get fined.
Right.
So you instruct people, if you're smoking it for recreation use, stay in your yard, okay, and in your house. You can't smoke around no kids. You got to be 18 years of age or 21 years of age to be allowed to smoke marijuana, all right? And that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
You understand? If you get catch in the road and you won't be the hero, the police has the right to lock you up because you ain't supposed to be in the road smoking it.
Right.
You understand? Or going in places where there's a bunch of people and you want to smoke your marijuana. Either, if you're going to make it recreational use, backyard, or safe environment where no kids, or in your room, or etc. If you're driving your car and you want to smoke, I think it could impair your vision or whatever. Or, I just saying, you might bar from smoking in the car, because a lot of people like to smoke in the car and listen to their music. But I'm not seeing nobody really getting car accident from overdose or marijuana. Most people getting car accident for alcohol.
Yeah.
So all we got to do is make some restrictions. But to tell you the truth, the cases before the court with small marijuana possession should not be before the courts.
They need to drop them.
Yeah, and
People go in jail because of that, they need to let out of jail.
right. You see?
That's-
Now, if you right now until they say they want to legalize it, and we still have people who sell it wholesale here illegally. I don't know what they're going to do with that part. I think you just fine people if you get caught selling it. If you get caught selling it 3 times, you spend time. If you get caught selling it the first time, you get a fine. If you get caught selling it the second time, you get a fine. You want, because you intend to supply. Third time,
Yeah, 6 months.
yeah, that's 6 months. But the first 2 times it's fine. The third time,
Right.
right. And then if you do it again, you get it time again because you ain't will listen. But you have 2-3 chances to get yourself together. But small marijuana possession, because you know what it says? It says dangerous drug. One little small marijuana says dangerous drugs. That is equivalent to finding a ton of drugs.
Right.
Because when it says, it says the same thing.
Yeah. Dangerous.
Dangerous drugs. Yeah, so very good topic today, and we want to talk about this stuff. So this guy wants to talk more about prison. So just talk whatever you want to talk. I don't know what you're going to talk.
Really, I really focus, my main focus is trying to get the prison together. Or try to get the government to focus on the prison. So we could focus on the country. Because the prison is what really have the country like this.
Yes. Tell them again. Tell
The
them.
prison has the country like this.
Tell them. That's why I say I always reflect the 1,700 inmates on how the country is moving forward. Until we could get that done, until we could get the 1,700 down to probably 50 to 100,
Right.
then we make progress. Other than that, BB girl, a lot of us are going to be crying for our loved ones. A lot of us. Those who are pulling trigger are going to be crying. Those who receiving the gunshot and their family innocently will also be crying. Everyone's going to cry in this.
Yeah. And ain't nobody safe.
No one's safe.
Nobody's safe. So the people could hear. The people are the government. If they don't understand that, they'll never understand it. They have the power to change things. The people do. They have the power to change the government. They have the power to change this country. If we don't work together, we will never change it. And if you all don't open your eyes to be very, very focused, we can lose this country. That's going to be the Chinese or the Haitians or
The
the
European.
foreigners can take this country right from the Spaniards. Right underneath our nose.
Because ain't nothing for us on the inner city community. Bloody, how much people we see walking around right now? All right, well, listen to this. The government, which they're doing a good job at governing and,
Right.
and having investors, but as far as say the people, they're not doing such a good job.
No, they ain't focus on the people.
They say, unemployment is down. Do you feel unemployment down for us?
man.
What we have every day around? How much people we get walking around unemployed?
Hundreds.
Huh?
They say all Asian have all the job. All Asian doing the mason work and they got all the contracts and everything. But I don't know. That's what they say. They say BM people don't want work. I say they don't want to hire BM people.
So we want to shoot gun.
Yeah, so shoot them.
That's why we the way we is now have 100 murders.
Yeah.
That's what, because they have no future, so everyone is trapped in these communities. Most guys who come into prison end up selling drugs, right? And then guys who come into prison would come and meet them and hang around in these areas, and they cause the next generation of wipers.
Yeah.
We need more opportunities. That's what you're saying.
Yes. We need to open our eyes. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we get a next caller on the line. Go ahead, caller. You're on Inside the Inner City.
Hey, Scrooge, what's going on, man?
Everything blessed, man.
Man, Scrooge, let me tell you, right? The governments of the Bahamas, the educated people, the ruling class, they don't care about the poor people, right? See, the other day we celebrate independence, right? We like to celebrate one man, one vote, right? All right, now. Let's look at the constituency where the prime minister is, right? He got 1,200 voters in his constituency. How many voters in your constituency?
We have way more than that.
They talking about almost 4,000.
Yeah.
So,
and it could be more than that.
means the voters in his constituency get 4 votes, so you have 1.
Yeah.
You understand me? That ain't a one man, one vote. And look what they saying now. Oh, the minister got to travel all so far. What that have to do with your one man, one vote? Nothing. You see, and the people who run this country, the media, everybody, they don't care. The only thing they care about is their contract. You understand me? Okay, let's look at the jobs. Let's look at construction. You got Haitians, Jamaicans, and people, Cubans. These people, they used to working $1 a day in some of them countries. And the people can never compete against that. And we live in a capitalist society.
That's the truth.
Come on, man. The contractor or whoever hiring people, they looking for the cheapest price.
Ma, I see you, Ma. Ma, go ahead, boss.
That's what they looking for.
They can pay the Cubans and the
They
Colombians.
lazy. Come on, we are a small country. How we get lazy and we win gold medals and we get world class athletes? How we get lazy? We ain't lazy. We do the Junkanoo thing. What more? How much? All it takes is energy to do Junkanoo. We strong people, able people. You understand me? But they trying. It ain't no matter what poor people do. They gonna suffer because you got nations who coming in here. Who gonna wait for cheaper? And you see, they mixing up our rights. They mixing up our rights with immigrants' rights. The treatment, immigration and police treatment of people. Our people and immigrants. How did they get mixed up with that?
Sandra Henfield. I see you, Ma. Go ahead, boss.
That should never be mixed up with that. You understand me? Watch this election. See, I know PLP, no FNM, none of them. You understand me? Watch this. You know the thing about the coconut water? If you had a big hullabaloo about the small man selling coconut water, come on now, be honest now. How much coconut water stores you see in Nassau? About 20. If you see 20, you see plenty.
Mm-hmm.
So how does we like a whole government for 20 man selling coconut water and they even ain't got a coconut tree? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So we poor people, we need to organize. Poor people need to organize. You understand me? We need the poor people, unionized people. They all over. They need to unionize. You need to organize them, and for them to get their power. You understand me? They need to get their legislative power for one. You understand me? All about these far-flung islands and things with these 1,200 voters. And the thing is, the people who run this country, they live in Nassau, live in these constituencies with their power. They send their power home to them same 1,200 people in them constituencies to rule over us. You understand me?
Yes,
like
sir.
them people vote for them too. They running this thing, man, and poor people suffering. We ain't got no public housing for poor people. We ain't got no jobs. What we get?
Nothing. 5,000 students coming to school. Like Betty say, 100 is going to find employment in the next 4,900. They got to hustle. Producer giving us a sign that we have to take a break. This is Maestro. His song that he's playing, special song. Okay, so don't go nowhere. I'll be right back after the break on Guiding Radio 96.9 FM.
Grieve me, but I doing the best I can. Trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand. I represent the ghetto people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up in town, bro. Boy, I from Dayton, bro. Don't take no back talk, no bribe or no joke. If you find fire, you definitely find smoke. Dayton, bro. Boy, I from Dayton, bro.
Always on the go? Missed the show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
Loss of family members is very isolating, and people who have experienced loss appreciate when others have shared their grief. If you can't be there in person, go to the Nassau Guardian's website online at thenassauguardian.com and visit our obituary link. The Nassau Guardian's interactive obituary link allows you to read the funeral announcement, express condolences, or place photos on the online guest book for 1 full year. Losing a loved one is painful, but that pain isn't the worst thing to happen. Friends, loved ones, colleagues, and neighbors who ignore the loss compound the pain. Should the bereaved family wish to place the obituary and photos on our obituary site, just contact the Guardian's funeral industry partners or the Nassau Guardian. Remember, there isn't one magic right thing to say to someone experiencing loss that will make the loss less painful or easier to bear. The Nassau Guardian's obituary link, available online at thenassauguardian.com.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey for every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Girl, you see how Cora eye look funny, all black up yesterday?
But she say she bumped into a wall when she's running after the churn dam.
Yeah, but last Saturday you see her arm was all black and blue, right?
What you saying? You think something wrong between her and Jack?
I ain't sure, but you know Jack is a jealous man. I hear him and Cora last Friday. I hear him say he hear Cora have eyes for Junior.
Now you know that ain't true. Cora is a good woman, does mind her business, take care of them churn, and go to church every Sunday. So what you think we should do?
I think we should report Jack, Cora don't say nothing, but silence hides violence, and we don't want to land up up in the cemetery.
Not me. I ain't getting in nobody business. Then Jack come after me and I land up next to Cora.
No, man, we could call a text Crime Stopper. And remember, we can even get some grocery money for our tip.
Remind me again, how does this work?
We can call them in Miami at 328-TIPS or 328-8477. Or when we in the island, call toll free at 300-TIPS or 300-8477. And if you don't have no minutes, use the Crack Crime Bahamas app and we could text them and the messages get on mix up before it leave your phone so nobody can know what you saying.
So what we waiting on then? Let's go earn some grocery money.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign.
Good night and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. I'm your host, Valentino Brown. In studios, I have Bloody, who's a special guest on Guardian Radio 96.9. He is talking about the invisible stuff that affects us in the prison. He's exposing it, and I hope that the authorities are listening. They hear about what's going on in the prison. It's been going on the last 40 years in prison. So Guardian Radio always told me as a talk show host, they want the inside stuff. And we find the right set of people. We have a lot of guests that comes on the show are very important. But they ain't much as important as what this young man has to say now, because not only did he do 15 years in prison, he was one of the founding members of the gang Border Boys, so he has extensive experience in that. He has extensive experience in the prison system. And also, most importantly, is that he can point out the faults of the prison so that those who are listening can make amendments to make the life better for the young man in those prison situations. They become productive citizens instead of becoming hardened criminals. And he's sharing you what's going on when it comes to prison officers abusing their power. Okay, prisoners or inmates who are taking advantage of other inmates. We're all black here, but we're destroying one another. But the system itself, when it comes to the prison officers being involved in illegal activities and using their power to inflict harm or cause harm to inmates, which in turn, this place is supposed to be a rehabilitation, so that when these persons leave the prison, they have a changed mindset and can start a wonderful, beautiful life. But as it stands now, it seems to be some serious address needs to be made at the prison. They're making some good headway when it comes to programs. But, a lot to do, because those people come out of prison unchanged and wreak havoc in the city communities. I want to say good night to my cousin, Sandra Hanfield Ma. I see Mr. Kendall Ferguson. Good night to you, sir. I see, Lakeisha Fox. I want to say thanks to everyone. I saw a baby a little earlier. I want to say thanks to everyone on Facebook who are tuning in tonight. And I hope that we're doing a wonderful job, because Bloody surely is doing a wonderful job here tonight. You want to say anything before we go?
I'd just like the public to know that, the only way we can get this country back, we can gotta fight for ourselves. If we depend on the government, we ain't get it back. We need to take the prison system and rip it apart. Everybody who's 60 retire. Everybody who's 65 retire. You need to retire those old guys for the old mentality. Bring in some new, fresh mindset, some new thinking. Bring in some young, agile people. Bring in some people with wisdom and sight. And just retire all those old fellas who run in the prison.
Get rid of the old system.
Get rid of the system. And maybe we put one foot down, we maybe could land the next foot at the right place, and we wouldn't stumble and fall. We might stand up.
So that's why, in other words, what you're saying is this. Let's get rid of those 60 and 55, because they're the old system. They're teaching a new generation of prison officers. Same old thing. So that's why I always say this. A sitting politician right now, like Adrian Gibson, who was before the courts right now, Who you think he inherit? The so-called, I mean, he's before the courts right now, and he's accused of embezzlement, what they call it. Using his position as an MP to get feedback, right? Contracts, right?
Right.
Where do you think he learned that from? Listen, think about this. Adrian Gibson, for his time in Parliament, and yet still he was involved with a big scandal involving about $1 million or $2 million. Where did he learn that from?
He learned it from the people who he came in with, the old fellas who's doing it a long time.
Okay.
You got to see something to know something.
What's the lady name now? Hamad Ad's daughter. She was a sitting minister of, what's her name now? She was a former police officer. I can't remember her name. Lakeisha Road. First time sitting member of parliament. What she questioned with and the police police was questioning her.
Yeah.
What she was involved with. Same thing. First time. Yeah. So it has to be the system.
Yeah, they seeing it. They seeing the leaders do it.
And teach them it.
And teach them it so they follow it.
And it's an old system.
If you don't see it, you wouldn't know how to do it. So somebody's showing them how to do it. And that somebody else, that's somebody who's doing it a long time. Who doesn't know how to do it? And who's doing it a long time.
And that's the permanent secretary
who goes over and over and around.
The permanent secretary who actually works for the King of England. Mm-hmm. He doesn't work for the Bahamas government. He works for the kingdom. Now you call that central government.
Right.
Okay? That's who they swear to. So y'all stop getting this thing and understand that we're a divided nation. Me and you are taxpayers.
Right.
Okay? Government officials, police officers, politicians, you know what they are? They are civil servants and they sign contract with the Governor General, who in turn oversees it to the King of England.
Right.
All right? And that's who their boss is. That's who the Prime Minister boss is. Okay? The Prime Minister boss, Brave Davis boss. Okay? In this country, it's King Charles. Okay? He goes to the Governor General to relay information to King Charles.
Right.
Okay? The Deputy Prime Minister's boss is Brave Davis.
Right.
Okay? The Commissioner of Police, his boss is the Minister of National Security. And all their boss is the Honorable Brave Davis.
Right.
And his boss is the King of England. Okay? You all better remember that. We are different. We are taxpayers. Me and you are taxpayers. Okay? That's why we pay pension to Hubert Ingram, the former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, the former Prime Minister Perry Christie, because they did their 2 terms, and as required by law and the system, they get their pension.
Right.
And their pension is anywhere from $120 to $150,000.
But if you check their bank account, they got $150 million somewhere. What they need it for?
So you see, there's so much can be given to the poor. Just as many of these people who, they deserve it, but many of them don't need it because many of them went in as politicians. Poor.
Yeah.
Some of them end up right now, 100 million, 200 million, 50 million, 60 million. Who money you think that is?
That's our money.
That's the people's money, but this goes to their law firms and stuff. But they accumulate this as being politicians. That's why a lot of them didn't disclose their annual income.
Right.
And they're breaking the law.
That's the law. They break the law.
If the commissioner of police has the power or he is the police, the politicians are breaking laws. Why ain't going to lock them up? Why? Let me ask you a question. It is in law that if you don't disclose, right, at a specific time, it was in the newspaper 2 weeks ago, right? And many senators and politicians have failed to declare what their earnings is. Why? But it's against the law, and it says you could get anywhere from, I think it's, how much fine? I can't remember. $10,000 fine and a year in prison or 6 months in prison. Yeah. Have you seen any one of them? And they say the only person who can table this, like I all said, is the Prime Minister and the opposition leader.
Right.
Don't lead the opposition leader with this, you know. Many of the stuff that the Prime Minister signs on, the opposition leader signs on. Okay? So don't get this thing twisted. You all better understand what's really, really going on in this country.
Like I said, in Nassau, they had the Nassau Stadium. Remember the Nassau Stadium where they used to sell breakfast? The stew fish.
Yeah.
In there. Perry Christie sitting here and Hubert Ingham sitting here and they have stew fish and Johnny Gage and they talking. So, what'd I tell you?
So why is we here fighting with one another?
In public, we sit down and talk about how much money we can give.
We get two former prime ministers who's multi-millionaires, but they made off
I talk about when Hubert Ingham was in power, him and Perry Christie used to sit down, right, to the Nassau Stadium and have breakfast just about every morning. They good friends.
So,
what do you think?
One is the leader of the PLP, one is the opposition. That's why Ingham say, well, Brent, you ain't getting this. It either be me or Perry. I give it to Perry. You remember that?
Yeah.
He said, Brent wouldn't see the city for the smoke. Since you won't be disrespectful, you'll never see this prime minister seat. That Brent will ever see the prime minister seat. He started his DNA. He got kicked out of the Free National Movement. He resigned from the Free National Movement, got kicked out, and he go and form his DNA. And when he formed his DNA, after that, two were passed to the polls. Mine and the people, the BMN people, but let me tell you something, the BMN people. You think I get fooled with them, thought I could run and be a politics and, Scoot, you doing a good job on this radio and listen to a bunch of people out there. Boy, you see what they do to Michael Pine and Freeport?
Yeah.
Michael Pine, but he's the people man. The people man. When election come down, Michael Pine can't even buy a vote. All that's be a bunch of talk by the BMN people don't play, boy. Nobody don't mind them, boy. You see what the polls? You think I could be a fool? No, boy. I listen to no noise in the market. I can keep on doing what I'm doing as little as possible. But I just want to thank you, for coming on the radio and you exposed a lot of stuff. I hope those who are listening, you heard what the prison officers do, okay, to their inmates, okay? You hear what inmates do to inmates. You hear there's no rehabilitation going on beside, even though there are some programs going on, right? But this man saying it needs to be dissected.
Yeah.
There's rape going on. There's robbery going on. There's abuse going on. There are murders being committed. No one is getting charged. Okay? There's drug selling. Prison officers involved in selling drugs. Okay? You have the young man say there's cocaine. There's rum in prison. And he did 15 years. So you think he lying? Huh? You think he lying? You think he lying? So cocaine in prison. Marijuana in prison. Phones in prison. You know how much phones they find out a day? If the inmates in prison, we have 1,700 inmates in prison. How about 200 phones getting to prison? How 4, 5, 10 pounds of weed getting to prison? How $5,000, $6,000 get fined in the prison? How it gets it? How? Huh? How? Prison officers.
That's the only way.
That's the only way. So, Bloody, what would you say to the young gentlemen on the streets, on the doors, who are in prison? What would you say to them to encourage them? What you would say to them?
Oh, you tell them, just don't go to prison. When they said in prison, you got to come out with a different mind. Because it looks like everybody who come out of prison dying now. That's just a trend right now. When they said who going in, coming out to die. Like, they just go into prison to learn how to die.
And it causes harm to innocent people.
Innocent people.
So people who are hard-working.
Innocent, the two innocent guys who got shot yesterday, that day, guys don't be into nothing, man. They just sitting where the other bad boys to sit, and the gunman thought they just bad boys too, and just shoot them up.
One dead. And
one injured.
And me and Little Road just played basketball Sunday. And me and the next one who got killed, Lefty, we just went in a 3-point shootout, and he beat me by one shot. Yeah. But me and Roe, we went the whole thing because, it was two things, on the court.
They ain't no bad boys.
Wow. Yeah, let me see. We completely out of time. So, Bloody, I don't know what to say to you. You did a fantastic job. Yeah, I'm sure those who listen, we had a lot of callers. And I want to say to Guardian Radio, I find the best set of people to come with you who concerned about their country. And this is Bloody ways of giving back. Even though he's persecuted by the country, but he see the suffering and the murders and the suffering going on, the poverty going on, and he came on the show today to speak for that and to make changes for those in the prison. For you guys in prison, you should have utmost respect to Bloody, because he's fighting for you guys. He letting the authorities know, he's letting the listening audience know what's going on. Okay, I want to thank you, Bloody, my good friend, and I hope each and every one of you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you next week on Inside the Inner City on Guardian Radio. Thank you very much, buddy.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Bintan, bro. Boy, I from Bintan, bro.